This video is all about eighth notes. First we're going to introduce what they sound like. Now, you probably remember the sound of the whole note. 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the sound of the half note, 2 counts. That means there are 2 half notes in one measure of 4/4 time. Each half note consumes 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you no doubt remember quarter notes, which each consume 1 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the eighth note consumes 1/2 of 1 beat. And technically it's very easy to do. You just, if you're a guitar player, you just hit the strings on the way up. Here, with my strings muted, is the sound of the eighth note. And I'll count them off. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and more up to speed. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now in this video I'm going to introduce you to the basic notation for the eighth note. So pardon me while I zoom in for a close-up. And over here, this is the familiar circle from the illustration of whole notes, except now that circle represents 1 quarter note. There would be 4 circles like that in a measure of 4/4 time. Each one of these is 1 beat. The eighth note is 1/2 of that circle. Now remember, the count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's going to become important later. The way they look on the page is you have the note head and the stem just like the quarter note, but above the stem you have either a flag like this. This little curlicue that hangs off of the stem is called a flag. And if you have a lot of eighth notes running together, then you put what's called a beam over the top of them. The purpose of the beam is to make it easy to see the beats. So each of these groups of eighth notes adds up to 4 times 1/8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means each group is worth 1/2 note, and that makes it really easy to read. You can see that this is a half note and this is a half note. Okay, so underneath, just to clarify, I drew the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, and a reminder that the beam is the line across the top, and the rest of the notation should be perfectly familiar. The notes that come in between the beats, that is this note, this note, this note, and that note, are called offbeats. And I'll have more to say about those as we get into notating rhythms that include eighth notes. But eighth notes, it's pretty hard to make a quarter note rhythm or a half note rhythm or a whole note, especially a whole note rhythm, sound very interesting. But when we get to eighth notes, that's when the rhythms start to get really, really interesting. Now I've been through all of the material in excerpt 1, and the majority of it doesn't get any more complicated than eighth notes. So this will pretty well wrap up what we have to say about reading rhythmic notation in our next segment.